Welcome back to the Home Service Legends podcast. I'm Mitch Berner, your host, and I'm here with Chelsea today from Profit by Numbers. She's helping amazing trade businesses in Australia find their way through to profitability by looking at the right numbers and the right metrics. Thanks for joining me today, Chelsea.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a really interesting day. So we sort of known each other for a little bit, and we've talked over the phone, and we had you come in here today looking at ServiceTitan and helping out clients in your I'm not allowed to say business coaching, but I'm saying a business advisor and partner.
Yep.
And do you want to tell me a little bit about what that entails and what you're helping Australian trade businesses on their journey?
So I have a background in trade and construction in the GM sort of CEO roles of trade businesses, and through that, I am an accountant by trade, but don't hold that against me. I think I have some form of personality, and I enjoyed measuring what success looked like. That was the accounting side of me, but I also love systems and processes and technology and things like that. And I just saw that works really well for trade businesses when they can sort of get that right. So then went out on my own and started helping other businesses on that journey. And there's a lot to that journey, but I'm really loving that. And hence why we met about ServiceTitan today, new-ish to Australia, but I can really see that it's a game changer, and a few of my clients have been transitioning onto that, and I want to see sort of the power of that program and being able to implement it to the best of its abilities. So, here we are today.
That's awesome. And we were obviously talking today about all the things that you can do in a trade business with ServiceTitan and all the different programs. It doesn't really. At the end of the day, to some degree, it matters what you're on, but at the end of the day, you could do this in a book if you had to, because really the numbers don't change, whether they're in the computer or they're on pen and paper. Ultimately, getting your numbers right is the most important thing for trade businesses. But not only is profitability important, but we also talked about, one of the key things that you're finding in businesses that is small businesses or growing businesses, that those trade business owners are kind of like on a path to nowhere sometimes. Like, they know kind of what they want, and if you have to ask them, they're like, oh, this is my dream, but realistically it's not written down. They don't have any checkpoints that they got to hit every year. Or so is that what you're finding? You're finding like most people got no destination, I guess.
Correct. And even what you said, some of them don't even know what they're trying to achieve, and sometimes they've heard what good looks like, but they don't even know what that means for them. So they might be like, oh, I need to get to turnover, revenue, right? Everyone talks about revenue. It's like, yeah, but what does that mean for you, and what are you going to get at the end of that? So,
like, what do you get if you hit 20 million in revenue?
Correct.
What does that
and
do
if you're
for
at 3% net profit, is that a good news story for you? And what does that mean for you and your family? So when I start with my clients, I really try and take it back to like, what do you want out of life? So, okay, you want a lifestyle business, or you want to be able to pay off your mortgage, you want to invest in commercial property, whatever that looks like. Well, what's your time frame for that? And then let's build that into a strategy for your company. And the reason I do that is because I think it is more tangible and sticks more with what they're trying to achieve, because it's building their personal wealth, or it's helping their family, or it's building a lifestyle that they can be there for their kids or whatever, instead of just, well, I read in a book that 20% net profits like a good, really good number to hit. I don't even know what that means, but that's what I'm sort of aiming for. So I try and start with that, because a lot of trade businesses, they work really hard, and they work like dogs, but sometimes if you don't have the right pricing, the right overhead percent ratio and things like that, you can work as hard as you want and you're stuck on a hamster wheel to nowhere sort of thing. So we really try and map that out to what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah. I was talking about it last week. I found when we were starting this business that I believed that it was like, it's all about hard work, and,
which there is a component.
Yeah. But I think you get to this place where I got to a point where it was like a realization where I'm like, if this was all about hard work, it should have worked by now.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
I'd been doing this, and I've been working
like a dog for
real hard. Yeah. Like as hard as I possibly could, harder than I've ever worked on anything in my life, and it wasn't working. So just because we're working hard, I guess, doesn't necessarily automatically mean that we're going to get success. So I think it sounds like from, what you're doing is helping people try and find like, what do we need to work on, right? And like, what stuff can we kind of remove from this process?
Yeah. And it's starting with pricing or break-even labor rates or things like that, to just go, you're charging 140, your break-even labor rate just to break even on labor is 220. So you're never going to make money with what you're doing. And they kind of go like, what?
Yeah.
And then you go through this process of no, I can't charge that much. And then they start charging and surprise, surprise, they're winning the same amount of quotes and life starts to get better. But it's a journey from a starting point to get to.
I think people never factored in, and tell me if you've seen other people do this. This was my biggest mistake, if I'll be totally honest, is when I first calculated my profitability way back when we started, my labor rates and things like that, I never factored in billable efficiency. Like I never factored in that there's 8 hours in a day,
Correct.
so everything was like divided by 8.
Yeah, correct.
But it wasn't that, right? It was when we looked at it,
Leave, like all of it comes into it, right? So
not only that, but like my
wasted
guys just
time.
never sold 8 hours
Yep.
in a day. Like never. Like nobody ever sold
Yep.
8 hours. Looked at it and like, oh, so we've made this assumption like we're going to make money if we sell 8 hours. If
Yep.
everybody sells
No.
8 hours, it's like not only do we not sell 8 hours, but some people don't even sell.
Correct.
So it means somebody else has to sell the
Correct.
hours for them.
Yep. So we do a bucket of billable hours. So is it 2 non-billable hours a day, 3 plus all their leave, plus do you allow for unpaid leave? We'll stop that for one. But if you do at the moment, that factors into it's all that equation. And then even showing them, okay, you pay a guy $40 an hour, $50 an hour, $60 an hour. Now double that for how much they actually cost you, not even to cover overheads, but just to cover that guy. And that's a shock to them because then it's like, well, they're costing you $100, $80, $120 depending, and you're only charging whatever. You're making no margin on that.
Yep.
So it is a learning curve for them, and I think sometimes they're hesitant with numbers because it's not their natural.
It's not their natural thing. Yeah.
Their natural thing. And I try to say to them, don't, like, there's no silly question or if we need to slow down or we need to go. I want them to really come on that journey of that understanding. So it's like I try and break it down as much as possible into terms they understand because I want them to go, oh, yeah, click. Now you've just said that, or my break-even rate's 220, or that he's costing me. Well, there's no way I'm going to, like, it's that real self-realization instead of me just trying to, jam information down their throat.
But it is fact though, right? That's the thing about it is like you can come to terms with it, and I understand there's a process of like bringing people along for the journey. But, for anyone who's listening to this who owns a trade business, whether or not you've appointed Chelsea, like just listen and go along with it because ultimately the numbers don't lie, right?
Yep.
They all always, you can add them all together and they always get to, whatever the number is, whether it's a profitability number or if it's a billable hours number. But ultimately, if you've calculated it and that's where you need to be, that's where you need to be. Like, there's no, Chelsea's not going to be able to find some magic way of like, actually, I said you needed to be here. I moved a couple of levers and now you don't. Like, it's just
I
not.
can, but it means like cut some people out of your office or
don't pay yourself,
so there
the things
are
that nobody
options,
wants to do.
and we talk about those levers and it's like, do you want to play the volume game? That's not a fun game to play on no margins.
Yep.
Can you cut overheads? That can come into it, or increase your prices. Like they're the things. And it was a good conversation that I had with one of my clients this morning. We did it. They were charging 180 and I was like, your break even at the moment is 220. He upped it in the back in the price book whilst we were on the call. And I was like, well done. And it wasn't this hesitation of like, well, I can't just start tomorrow to charge. It's like you can. And then slowly they'll get to the 250 and slowly they'll get to the 300 sort of thing. So yes, would we wish that they just click their fingers and change the price to exactly what I want the same day? Sometimes it's a 2-step, 3-step.
I love it how it's also
process.
like we've upped it to 220, so now we're at our break even.
Yeah.
So like we've still got ways to go, but like we're getting there.
Correct.
Right? So like we still, I get it, right?
Yeah.
We've all been there, but like part of this journey is just making sure that really you are charging what you need to charge to make sure that your business survives.
Yep.
And then you can start looking at all the other stuff like what do we cut these customers out? Do we what kind of trades do we get into? We talked before about going multi-trade is not a direct solution.
Yep.
Not always. I mean, so a lot of the time it's just not.
Yep.
Like it's just not. It's a new thing, but it's not necessarily a new profitable thing. And if you're already in, like heads up, if you're already if you're already in plumbing and you're going into something else, get ready for a crude shock of the difficulty level that it is. Selling electrical is not the same as selling plumbing. Like selling HVAC is not the same.
Selling
Has some
roofing is not the
similarities.
same as
Roofing,
selling plumbing.
right? But like, you might be surprised if you go from electrical to plumbing. You might be, it might be a little easier. There's a little bit more margin. There's like some good things in it. I'm a little bit plumbing biased, but it is a good business, right? Like it's not as difficult to sell. Like I feel for like, solo sparkies that are trying to get out there. That's a tough business, right? Like it's not an impossible business, but I was talking to Sparky yesterday and I was saying to him, like, it's just not every day that, you know, people are in total emergency
Yep.
like they are with, you know, today in our office. Like we got people with, you know, waste coming up in the shower
Yep.
and like things that need to be urgently done.
Yep.
It's nearly the weekend. And, you know, but if you get your pricing right, even if you're Sparky or whatever it is you do, right? Whether there's tons of demand or there's not, if the pricing is right, then you should be okay. You know, like you should be able to.
And I think couple that with price right, but offer the value to the customer.
Correct.
So if you want to have a sorry, maybe I shouldn't swear on
No,
this
you're
podcast.
okay. No, you're right.
You know, a bad customer experience, or you're not going to give them that 5-star service the whole way through. Don't expect to be able to charge a premium, people not leave you 1-star reviews. So it's price accordingly, but offer a service that matches what you're charging.
I forget to say that sometimes because I just assume that if everyone's hearing what I'm saying, everyone's doing the right thing. Everyone's, you know, looking after the customer and doing a great job. But yeah, absolutely is, you know, the unspoken rule is like charge whatever you need to charge, make a good profit, create a great business, but also, yes, you have to look after your customer. You have to provide great service and great value, and you have to justify why your prices. You know, the fact that you have margins to meet, that's fine. That'll take you up to here. But to get the profit part and to get a little bit extra and the sustainability.
And instead of trying to push it uphill, it starts to create a life of its own of your brands now representing. That is, you're focused more on value than just price, and you're selling value, not just price. And that's where you'll get the repeat customers and the lifetime value. And it all just starts to happen instead of us like constantly just forcing prices down people's throats. It's like, well, you're not selling value. That's why it feels like such a push.
Yep. And obviously, you know, selling value in the way that, you know, they give great service, but also options and things like that. And obviously ServiceTitan helps you with that.
You're professional expert of, in my professional opinion, if you did X, Y, and Z, but also, again, you're presenting options and the customer's the one making the informed decision instead of presenting them with one thing and trying to force it down their throats and they, I'm not liking this process. Yep.
I suspect if I was listening to this, you know, and driving around, I'm on the way to work or I'm in between jobs, I'd be thinking to myself, you know, it's great that you've said, Chelsea, that we need a goal and we need to have a destination. But like, is there a particular time in which you think that should be more of a focus? Like, do you think that's the first thing you should do on day one of starting a trade business? Or do you reckon just get the wheels in motion and then start to look at where you want it to go? Do you think it's too far-fetched to like have a, you know, I'm not just going to say far-fetched to have a dream, but like, do you even know what you want when you haven't even made the first sale? Is it too early, or is there a period that you find is best to?
I still think you should have intention with anything you set out to do. And generally people do when they start a business. Why are you doing this? It's for lifestyle. Well, good luck when you first start a trade business having a lifestyle.
Sure.
It can be a lot of, you know, hard yakka to get there. And I think, to be fair, and this is why I don't like the word business coach, is they sell this dream of you're going to be off the tools and everything's going to be perfect within 12 months or whatever the case may be. It's hard work. It really is. And I ask a lot of my big 10 million plus clients and they'll still say, sometimes it can be hard work. It doesn't have to be, and you can get the systems and processes. But I think this dream of like, just work hard for 12 months and then you'll be rolling in money forevermore is a bit of a pipe dream. But when you're starting out with a business, what's your intention? Is it you're trying to build wealth for your family? You want the lifestyle that you can pick your kids up from school? Like even just that little intention that you're trying to set, it's still like a North Star. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal, whatever you want to call it. It's you can, every decision that you make, you can look back at that and be like, is this getting me closer to that, or is it detracting me from that, basically?
Yeah. I always had trouble with that, like if I'll be totally honest. Like I had trouble finding my, you know, why. Yeah. It's really difficult. I'm still not 100% sure I'm there yet, like from a spiritual, personal level, but.
So that's in my calendar that I was talking about, is start with why as well. And again, as a business owner, and Simon Sinek, obviously, if you know a lot about that, people buy why you do it, not what you do. And I use this more as like, why are people going to pick you versus the other two customers? That's when I kind of talk about that why. And I see the why in versus like your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal, your 10-year plan, a little bit different. But they can, like what we're talking about, you're trying to build a lifestyle or whatever the case may be. And yet it's probably a journey. Not everyone gets it right. And I think if it's too superficial as well in terms of like, well, I just want to be filthy rich or whatever, doesn't stick.
That's not a why, you know. And I think, and I you know why I struggled with it was like, when we first started this business, I didn't have kids, right? I didn't
Yep.
have, and I don't think the kids are like the main, reason for why people do stuff.
Yep.
But it's hard being like, if you're a single tradie bloke driving
Yep.
around your car, it's like sometimes, and you're
But why?
22,
Because-
having a why is
So
not
it's
always.
like, even that, it's like, why? Because I know I worked for whoever it was, old mate, and I know I can do it better than him. So
Yep.
your why is to be
better.
than that guy. I'm going to be the best in
Yeah, that's
Melbourne at
great.
this specific thing. So it's going to evolve, of course. Like, you might start with something and look back at it in 5 years and be like, oh, that was my goal back then. Now it's completely changed now. But I think being intentional with what you do is important.
I love that. I actually never thought about it like that, because I always thought, the why has to be like this, like, it's
If you go through a proper process of trying to find your purpose and thing, it can be a big...
Yeah, but I never thought about that. Like, let's just make the why being better than X, Y, Z, or let's make the why, until something appears, because the why appeared later for me.
Yep.
And, and it's presented itself. But before that, it didn't really, it was like,
Yep.
it was like asking a kid what they want to do when they're older.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know.
I want to be a doctor.
Like,
At this.
I've had no thought put into this whatsoever.
But like, even if it's a 5-minute reflection when starting your business on like, why are you doing this? And the funny thing is, sometimes the grass can always be greener with that of tradies going out and starting their own businesses. Like, talk to a lot of trade business owners and they'll be like, you can have it, like good luck to you sort of thing, because it's not easy for everyone. And yes, you go through waves and you start to be a business owner yourself and you bring in all this money, and then, now you got to think of finances, now you got to think of
Bills.
schedulers, now you got to answer people's calls, and like it all starts to pile up. So it's easier said than done, but you started that business for a certain reason, because I know I can be the best. That's a great why. I want to be the best at what I do in this region, this town, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. You want to take over the world. Who knows what it is? I want to franchise my business, whatever the case may be. I want to build wealth for my family and a lifestyle business in time where I can step back and be a present dad, or I want to go on a 4-month surfing holiday whatever it is.
Yep.
There's a reason why you've chosen to start a business.
But I think it's cool, like, because what you're saying is like, and that's where I'm at now. It's like, this is like I want to do this with my dad, like he's getting older, or I want to do this with my son, or whatever it might be. But I think just the way you lined it out is like, sometimes it starts with like, I just want to be better than the guy around the corner.
Yep.
And
or
then
I
it's
want
like,
the flexibility.
I want to be the
or-
number one,
Yep.
plumbing company in my Reese branch. I want to be the biggest customer.
Yep.
Apologies, that's my fault.
That's all good.
I want to be the biggest plumbing company, at my local branch. And then it might evolve, like you say. It might be like, I want to be the best husband I can be. I want to be the best father I can be. I want to really give back to the community. And like, it might evolve over time.
It doesn't
right?
have to. It won't. It probably won't be the same thing all along your journey,
No.
because life circumstances change.
But I like what you said, because it really puts it in perspective for me, because
Yep.
I I'm again thinking about the person on the receiving end of this is like, sometimes it's like, what is my why?
Yep.
Like, I'm trying to like grab this, like,
Yeah,
I
that
want to
really,
raise
like-
a family, and I was
Yep.
like, we have no idea yet. If you
Yep.
haven't even had kids yet, like it's way
Yep.
away. It's like, I
Yep.
want to make $1 billion. It's like,
Yep.
we're so far from $1 billion
Yes.
that it's like impossible to imagine.
Yep.
So I like this idea that it's like, your why could also be like checkpoints. Like,
Yep.
let me hit this why.
Yep.
Like, it's a target.
Yep.
Like, let me achieve the why.
Yep.
So maybe you do have multiple whys, because I probably before this conversation always believed that maybe you just had one why, like
Yep.
it was the purpose that you were put on this planet.
Yep.
But maybe it evolves over time and you kind of like tick it off. So
And
this is
right
cool.
now, you're doing what you're doing today for a reason. Like, you may not have found that, and it might be partially you want to do stuff with your dad, partially you love, obviously, systems and processes and structure, and how can we do things better all the time. That's just what feeds you energy, and that's your why right now. Like, I just want to show that we can. I'm looking at your billboard today is the best we've ever been and the worst we'll ever be. So
Yes,
your why
stole
is
that
like,
from Tommy Mellon. It does
well,
have,
I can see
it does have credit underneath there.
It
but
does have credit, but that's important to you, that you will continue to be the best.
Yeah,
and you won't
tomorrow
settle for
we're better
just
than
being
today.
correct. So that's a why in itself.
I think that's cool, and I really like that. So, and speaking of being around here for today, like, is there any takeaways? Anything you've enjoyed? Chelsea came out and visited the business today. Anything like that
So-
you've noticed that was interesting?
I said to you, I don't know if you sort of put your staff on the best foot, and this is something with a couple of the guys that have gone and seen that are on ServiceTitan, is everyone sings from the same songbook and it doesn't feel forced or pushed. So whether you're speaking to CSR, whether you're speaking to managers, whatever the case may be, they're, again, this word intention is resonating with me a lot. And it's like they're intentional in terms of what they're doing, and they're really clear on what success looks like in their role. And I asked them that, and they got out KPI sheets, and they're like, this is what I'm trying to achieve. That is really critical. And again, it's back to that, like, everyone just thinks hard work will get them somewhere, but it's like your guys are really clear on what success looks like and how to get there. And they were very for the customer, what I was talking about before as well. I didn't hear like, oh, we just gouged another dig up for someone else. It was like CSR.
You'll never hear that in here, which is cool.
Yeah. And CSR, my job for the happy calls 24 hours later is because I get to take their call at the start, and I build a relationship that I don't get to see. So it's a really good opportunity for me at the end to just close the loop. And can we do anything better? And I was like, oh my, like, just breath of fresh air in terms of listening to the way that your staff talked about their roles. Like it really is. So,
and it's got cool processes too. Like that happy call. It's like, it's not just the call. If they press this particular button, it heads upstairs, and then like someone else takes it over. If it's like, look, this person
not
this
happy or a 4-star,
any sign of non-happiness.
And if it was 5, they get the Google review link. So that automation, like, I thrive on automation and taking out manual intervention of things. So I think that's why, Mitch and I had an hour book today, and we've been here for about 4.5 because we've just been like did on systems and processes, and just taking out those buckets where stuff just goes to die, basically, and it's just a streamlined process.
If I can share with you, like, the cool thing about this is the thing that I love now is because we got the right team. Most of the stuff that you saw is not me.
Yep.
Which and has been about getting out of my own way and not being the like bottleneck for everything. Which trade business owners get out of the way and let the business, let your people, you hired them, your team, let them do their thing.
But hold them accountable.
Hold them accountable.
To that.
Yep. But also, like, let them. You have to let people, like, we have to let people make mistakes too. Like 100%. Sometimes I can see something like this is going to go bad. It's like, but they have to make the mistake. They have to rack up the credit card bill and pay it off before they learn. Like, okay, that stung. That was not good, because if we protect everybody from everything, if we protect everybody from accidentally sending
disempowered, and you get the 80 calls a day, and and no one will do everything the exact way that you want it done. And I'm sure you've been through this as well, where you're like, oh, I would have done it differently. But if they're getting 80% of the way there and we're still reaching our targets, like, no one is like you. And that's why you're the business owner, and they're not most of the time. So it's like, don't expect them to do it exactly your way. And some of them will do things the better way if given the opportunity to feel empowered and not feel like if they're going to make a mistake, I'm going to get slapped over the wrist, make the same mistake multiple times. Okay, we've got a problem there. But give them the space.
Well, we've got it to the point, I think, now where it's like, it's not that they're worried about a slap on the wrist for making a mistake. It's like they just don't want to make one, like, because that would be not great customer service. Or that would be, like, I think it's cool because they're worried. They're not worried about punishment. They're more like worried about, if I stuff this up, then like, that hurts my integrity a bit, because like they don't want to stuff it up because they want to be the best, which is cool. And like, we've had plenty of people that certainly did not want to be the best, or said they would and they weren't. So that's taken time. So don't feel disheartened as people come and go from your business, because it's going to happen.
And it's a maturity thing, right, as well, to not just bring on anyone that breathes, oh, we're busy, like, we'll just hire this guy sort of thing. And a question that I ask my clients, we're starting to get into a quarterly process of this, is, would you enthusiastically rehire everyone, knowing what you know about them today, from a behavior more important than a skill set perspective? And if it's like then get them off the bus, move on. And they're always like, oh, but I can't afford to. It's like, you can't afford not to, and you'll come to that realization. And again, defining moment for one of my clients, they got rid of 3 guys, not a blip in revenue, and GPs increased. And it's like, because you're not wasting all your time focusing on your C grade players.
It's definitely, and I think, like, I used to get frustrated when people leave, and you're right. You're like, sometimes you're like, I'm all frustrated about this, and then it's like, would you hire them back? Actually, they're on the phone, they want to come back. You're like, no.
Yep.
No, actually, I don't.
And if you keep your finger on the pulse with your A players, there'll be no surprises, right? Like, there shouldn't be a surprise when you lose one of your A players. That means you haven't done something right as a manager or a boss or an owner sort of thing. If you're like, oh, that was unexpected, that left a hole, it's like, well, what wasn't he getting from you that he's now got to someone else? Yeah. Unless they've gone overseas for
sometimes it's just freedom, though. Like, we've had some of our best people leave, like,
do their own thing, and then
because
they're like,
they just
can I
want to
come
do
back?
their own thing, or they want to come back. But ultimately, I think like, what are you going to do about that? It
And
just
also
is what
like
it is.
let them.
We've taught
because-
people to be good salespeople.
Yeah,
now they want to
correct.
go and sell. Surprise. Like,
And some of them will give that and go, "Oof, this is hard work and risky. And, I want the security of just coming back to something where I'm not great. Open door to your A players to always come back.
of course.
Some contract back to us. Like there's different options there as well. So
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And just to land the plane for today, I think ultimately, if you get to profitability, you can hire great people.
correct.
Right. And if you know what your numbers are, you can stay in business. And if you stay in business long enough, it might just run long enough for you to create a lifestyle
Yep.
and fulfill your why
Yep.
and get to where you want to be. And ultimately, if people feel like now's the time to get their stuff together and start moving their business forward, is there if they can go find you online?
Yep.
They can get in touch with you?
So no social media. I do not do
Cool.
social media. But yeah, Profit by Numbers, chat to me through there, Chelsea at profitbynumbers.com.au if you want to shoot me an email. So
Perfect. And who's I'm going to ask the question so that everybody knows, what's the right customer? Who's the right person who you help the best? Because I know everybody helps a little different.
Yep. So I have found for me that my smallest customer at the moment is sort of 2 million up to 10 million, 30 million. So, and my experience in my trade businesses has been the 10 million, 100 million sort of thing. So I know that big business, it's guys that,
We've got to talk about
and
that
girls.
another time.
Guys and girls that one can take ownership. They want to listen, right? Because sometimes it can be quite a defensive. Nothing's working and none of it's my fault. It's like let's dig into this, and ones that want to build consistency in what they do, because honestly, it does not happen. You cannot build sustainably and profitably without being consistent and structured in what you do, and you want to represent the culture of your people as well. They'd be the things, and just be cool people to talk to and have a bit of a sense of humor and a personality would be great as well.
So if you're over 2 million, you're a cool person, you want to grow your business, you want to look after your people, and you want to get to profitability. If you aren't already there and you want some more profitability or you want some more clarity, then Chelsea's
the man.
I'm not going to say the man for you, but yeah, Chelsea and Profit by Numbers is the place to be. So thank you again for coming in today, and
Thanks
I'm
for having
glad
me.
we were able to spend a few hours together and enjoy ServiceTitan. Again, for people who are watching this, if you guys want to get in touch with either of us, I'll pop the info in the links below, and also I'll pop the booking link here if you want to come and spend a day hanging out with us here at Legendary, because we open those doors every Friday for anybody and any business to come and hang out with us and see what we're doing. So thank you again for coming in today, Chelsea, and
Thanks for having me.
we'll see you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.